Tonight, tariff uncertainty continues. Donald Trump raises the temporary global tariff rate to 15%, a day after the Supreme Court ruled against some of the president's duties. Ringing in the Year of the Horse.
This year, as you know, is the Year of the Horse, and that symbolizes energy, good luck, and success.
The Lunar New Year parade marches down Somerset Street in Chinatown, celebrating Ottawa's black business owners.
It's important to support black businesses because first and foremost, we're all we've got.
Bring It Black, the Black Futures Market, shining a spotlight on black entrepreneurs in the capital. And more medals in Milan. We recap some of the local athletes bringing home some hardware from the Winter Olympic Games. Good evening. Austin is away this weekend, and we begin tonight with U.S. President Donald Trump pressing forward with his tariff policies on the heels of a Supreme Court decision that struck some of them down yesterday. But it's a new day today that's bringing more changes, with Trump now saying he's increasing newly imposed global tariffs. CTV's Jeremy Sharon reports.
Less than 24 hours after blasting the Supreme Court for striking down some of his tariffs.
Deeply disappointing.
Then immediately imposing new ones. U.S. President Donald Trump today already announcing in a social media post his Section 122 global tariffs are increasing, raising the 10% worldwide tariff to the fully and legally tested 15% level.
I was actually quite surprised the president didn't come out with 15% across the board yesterday as the very first measure.
The new duties imposed under the U.S. Trade Act are limited to a maximum of 15% and would require congressional approval to extend beyond 150 days.
Many thought that the Supreme Court ruling would actually see the president back away, but that has not happened. And so I think what we're seeing here is now Congress is going to be left to its own devices to try to rein in this president.
According to the White House, the tariffs won't be applied to goods covered under CUSMA, meaning they'll have little direct impact for now on the Canadian economy.
For Canada, we're in a temporarily somewhat lucky position of having those extra protections afforded to us by CUSMA.
But with a mandatory CUSMA review deadline set for July 1st and an administration that has indicated it will spend the next months investigating trading partners' policies, threatening further tariffs through different legal means, this former senior advisor to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who was involved in the last round of trade talks, suggests challenges lie ahead.
So with all these deadlines up against each other, Canada may find itself in a very precarious spot come summer.
Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974 is what Trump is relying on for new tariffs when the current ones expire. It allows the president to use new levies if they deem trading partners' policies are unreasonable and discriminatory. Trump has repeatedly called Canada's supply management system an unfair trade barrier. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
And stay with CTV News for continuing coverage of Trump's global tariff rates. For updates on radio, tune in to News Talk 580 CFRA and CTV News Channel at any hour. All right, we'll take our first check of the weather. That's a look at the Walks Creek there behind me. It was a very, very snowy night last night. We'll take a look at a time lapse we have of the storm that came into the Ottawa area. This is when it was heaviest. It started around the 6 o'clock hour and continued pretty much to around 11 o'clock, almost midnight in the evening. Now, Environment Canada say over the past 24 hours, 12 centimeters of snow fell at the Ottawa airport. 6 centimeters fell at Gatineau's airport, and other places outside of Ottawa reported up to 16 centimeters of snow, like areas like Kemptville and toward the Brockville area. We'll take a look at what's happening right now in Ottawa. -6 we're looking at, with a chance of flurries that we're dealing with all day, and that'll continue on into the overnight as well as into your Sunday. As for tonight's lows, -7 with this chance of flurries here for Ottawa. Same thing for Cornwall and the Pembroke area. -8 degrees for Bancroft, -5 and 6 across the Seaway. And we'll take a look at the lows for the Gatineau area. -7 there, -7 for Petawawa. Clearer conditions toward the Quebec area. They're looking at -12 clear conditions in Mont-Tremblant, -9 for Montreal. Well, day 15 in Milan-Cortina raked in a few more medals for Team Canada, including a touch of gold on the pebbled ice. and a couple of local athletes bringing back some hardware from Italy. CTV's Natalie Van Roy has a recap of today's medal count. Natalie.
Kimberly, it was an exciting day for Canada in Milan as athletes secured more medals on the podium in the second last day of the 2026 Winter Olympics. After falling short in yesterday's 1500-meter skate, Ottawa's Blondin won the silver medal in women's mass start long track speed skating. This is Blondin's second straight silver medal in this event, also taking silver 4 years ago in Beijing. She is Canada's only skater to win a medal in this event. Blondin likely closes out her Olympic career with 4 medals, including 2 golds in women's team pursuit speed skate and 2 silvers in mass start across 4 Olympic Games. And Ottawa's Rachel Homan and her team have secured an Olympic bronze medal after failing to make the podium in 2 previous Olympic appearances in 2018 and 2022. Homan guided Team Canada to a 10-7 win over the U.S. today. Now, this is the first Olympic medal for her teammates, Tracy Fleury, Emma Miskew, and Sarah Wilkes. This also marks the first Olympic medal for Canada in women's curling since 2014.
It feels phenomenal. We fought hard all week to get ourselves into a medal contention, and we did just that. And just proud of my team, proud of us for pulling together, fighting hard for each other, for Canada, and to be able to bring home a medal for Canada just means everything to us.
And the Canadian men's curling team won gold at the Winter Games. The Canadian team, led by skip Brad Jacobs, beat Britain 9-6 in today's final. It was a close game. The match turned in the 9th end when Canada scored 3 for an 8-6 lead at the British rink, could not overcome in the 10th. And as the 2026 Milan-Cortina Winter Olympic Games wraps up tomorrow, all eyes will be on the Canadian men's Olympic hockey run as they go for gold, facing off against Team USA. Kimberly.
Yes, we'll all be watching, me included. CTV's Natalie Van Roy reporting live for us tonight. Thank you, Natalie. And let's take another look at the medal standings. While Canada added to its overall total, we're still in 11th place overall here in the standings with 5 gold medals, 6 silver, and 9 bronze. Lunar New Year celebrations continue today as hundreds of people packed Ottawa's Chinatown to welcome the Year of the Horse, a symbol of energy and ambition. CTV's Josh Moreno is there and joins us live with more. Josh, how was it today?
Yeah, Kim, it was quite the party. Loud, colorful, and full of tradition, both new and old. Today's parade brought the community together to celebrate culture and a fresh start for the year ahead.
Happy New Year! Ottawa Chinatown buzzing Saturday afternoon as crowds lined Somerset Street West for the annual Lunar New Year parade.
We're excited to be here and to be able to celebrate.
Kristen Sue taking it all in, front and center with her son Isaac, soaking in every moment as performers made their way down the street.
I'm of Chinese descent, and so I want to bring Isaac out here today to be able to show him a bit of his culture and be able to celebrate the new year with him.
This year marks the Year of the Horse, symbolizing ambition and forward momentum, something Sue says she hopes to carry into the new year.
It's always nice to have a fresh start. You kind of feel like really springtime. It feels like more of a fresh start than January 1st to me.
Each year is marked with the zodiac animal sign, and this year, as you know, is the Year of the Horse, and that symbolizes energy, good luck, and success.
Drums pounding as vibrant lions weave through the crowd, a tradition believed to bring good luck and chase away negative spirits.
It means a lot to me. I was really happy to be there and seeing somebody still carrying the Chinese traditional culture.
It's just a lot of fun, just being immersed in the culture and locally being, in Ottawa, seeing this. It's a lot of fun.
Organizers with the Chinatown Business Improvement Area say the celebration continues to grow each year.
I have received emails and calls from folks outside Ottawa saying that we would drive to this event. Chinatown has established ourselves as a multicultural destination in Ottawa.
The parade also providing a boost to local businesses.
We usually get together to celebrate, and seeing this, everyone coming around here to celebrate means a lot to us as well.
For Sue, she says bringing in the new year in Chinatown is a new tradition she's happy to share with her son.
We've done a bit of celebrating with family, and so now we get to be out in the community.
Lunar New Year is actually a 15-day celebration. Currently, it is the Spring Festival, and organizers say there is a Chinese New Year's fair at the EY Center on February 28th. Cam.
TV's Josh Brennan reporting live for us tonight. Thank you very much, Josh. And you can scan the QR code on the bottom of your screen to link to us online or visit ctvnewsottawa.ca. We have more details on Lunar New Year celebrations here in Ottawa. Criticism is growing over the Ford government's planned changes for OSAP for post-secondary students. There is concern the focus is moving from grants to loans, putting education costs out of reach for some. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris explains.
After a 7-year freeze, colleges and universities will be able to hike tuition starting this fall. But it's the overhaul of OSAP that sent a chill across campuses and pulled students to Queen's Park.
Last week's announcement completely pulled the floor out from under us.
The new plan puts much less emphasis on grants. Right now, after they graduate, students only have to pay back 15% of the OSAP help they get. The new model is flipped. Only 25% of funding will come through grants. The other 75% has to be repaid.
People are scared. They don't know if they're going to be able to finish their degree. They don't know if when they graduate they're going to be able to pay it back. You know, some people, they're now considering if they should, go to university.
The Premier defends these changes, calling the OSAP setup unsustainable, and singles out what he calls horror stories.
Kids going out there buying fancy watches and cologne and not needing it, and families making $200,000 getting their kids' education. That doesn't fly with the taxpayers, I'll tell you that.
A remark students call a slap in the face, pointing out they are taxpayers, and so are their parents.
And for us to be paying those taxes and suddenly the government decides that what we're doing is no longer valuable is just a betrayal.
There doesn't seem to be much to Doug Ford's claim that high-earning families are cashing in on OSAP.
My family isn't making $200,000 a year. We're going to have to get a loan. The grant to loan ratio has changed, and I think we're going to have to sadly settle with debt.
The government is infusing post-secondary institutions with more than $6 billion in extra funding over the next 4 years.
They set fire to the post-secondary system and now want applause for throwing a little bit of water on it.
Students say more money for their schools is nice,
but that doesn't matter when we can't afford to go to class.
The government is in negotiation with colleges and universities to add to a program that offers extra help to low-income students who don't get enough aid through OSAP. We don't know right now what the final number will ultimately be. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Ottawa police stopped a young driver after being caught going nearly 100 kilometers over the speed limit in Riverside Park last night. According to police, the 16-year-old G2 driver was traveling 146 kilometers per hour in a 50 community zone on Walkley Road near McCarthy Road. Now, police say the driver was charged with stunt driving, had their license suspended and car impounded, and is now facing a minimum $2,000 fine. Well, there is another concerning update in the online history of the shooter behind this month's mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia. A ChatGPT account connected to Jesse Van Rootseller was banned by OpenAI 7 months before the mass shooting for concerning interactions that violated OpenAI's policies. The company concerned referring the user to law enforcement, but decided the interactions did not warrant do so. Now, after the shooting, which left 8 people dead, the company contacted the RCMP with information on the individual and their use of ChatGPT. CTV News reached out to the RCMP, who shared a statement saying, as part of the investigation, digital and physical evidence is being collected, prioritized, and methodically processed. This includes a thorough review of the content on electric devices, as well as social media and online activities.
Being here in person, making connections, putting faces to the names and to the products, wonderful.
Coming up, the Bring It Black Market highlights the vibrant community of Black business owners during Black History Month. CTV's Camille Wilson tells us more after the break. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. We're sitting at -6 degrees here in Ottawa with a chance of flurries.
Saving lives is what they do. February is Heart Month, and together we can support the University of Ottawa Heart Institute in providing world-class cardiac care. For almost 50 years, our community has played a critical role in advancing the Institute's life-saving work. Your donation will support groundbreaking research, innovative patient care, education, and prevention. To learn more, visit FebruaryIsHeartMonth.ca.
Proudly sponsored by CTV.
You got to hit the ground running. Can we take it back for a sec to the end of last year's Varsho charges one? Left field, that ball is deep, and it's gone. There we go.
The boys of summer are back. I know it's winter, but I love to see this. The Toronto Blue Jays in Dunedin, Florida, taking on the Philadelphia Phillies in their first full game of spring training. Dalton Varsho gets things going in the fifth with a solo shot. Eric Lauer went 9 shutout innings for the Jays, holding the Phillies to just 4 hits. The Jays take on the Boston Red Sox tomorrow. Well, Next Door Ottawa hosted the second annual Bring It Black Market today, focusing on empowerment and opportunity and Black-owned businesses. CTV's Camille Wilson checked it out for us today and is back here in studio for a recap. How did it go, Camille?
Kimberly, it was full of vibes, I can tell you that filled with culture. And as Black History Month continues, it was all about celebrating the amazing entrepreneurship of Black creatives at the Bring It Black Future Market, spotlighting the resilience and excellence of Ottawa's Black community.
If we don't support one another, then who else is going to support us?
Spotlighting and celebrating creativity, culture, and entrepreneurship. Don Xavier Franklin is a regular of supporting Black-owned businesses.
I want to support, but being here in person, making connections, putting faces to the names and to the products, wonderful.
The Bring It Black Future Market, hosted by Next Door Ottawa, brought in nearly 24 vendors.
It's important to know that your Blackness doesn't have to be closed off, and it doesn't have to be kept kind of shied away or secret. You can broadcast it and be accepted.
Showcasing food, art, programs, and clothing curated for the Black community.
The jeans I'm wearing right now, I actually bought from one of the vendors that right behind us, tribe.co, and I love them.
We really want to focus on Black futures, and this is about empowerment and opportunity and creating a more just future.
Lindsay Bolden teaches one-on-one music and vocal lessons with music from Black composers.
I started the choir because I wanted to sing this sort of music and I wanted to introduce this sort of music to Ottawa, and it didn't exist, so I had to make it myself.
The event also giving the opportunity to network and build a community for Black entrepreneurs.
It's important to support Black businesses because first and foremost, we're all we've got.
Marking Black History Month, the Black Future Market paving the way for the next generation.
It's more than a business. It's a family legacy. We do make juice from plant-based fruits and also roots like ginger, turmeric.
And building a business cultivated from lived experiences.
My products are mostly 98% natural, very natural. They work very good. I give relief to people with acne, eczema, psoriasis, and just generally for a glow.
What a day filled with encouragement and opportunity for Black creatives, pushing forward the vision of the Black community from the fashion to the culture to the music, and just seeing the amount of creativity in the room and uplifting the futures of Black people.
I love to see it, and a lot of Black women focused as well, which
very much so.
Love to see that. CTV's Camille Wilson, thank you very much for that. All right, we'll take a look at weather now, a extended look at the forecast. And wow, again, a lot of cleanup from yesterday after the storm that we have to deal with here in the Ottawa area. Lots of people, again, digging out 12 centimeters of snow, and a shout out to the city crews that got the roads and the sidewalks all cleared out for us. Again, a lot of snow for us to dig out today. If anyone was out and about, needed to go anywhere, we'll take a look through the satellite radar. Again, we have some lingering cloud cover here for the Ottawa area, and we have some off and on flurries right throughout Saturday and into Sunday as well. Across the country, we're looking at -5 out in St. John's, -2 with some flurries in the Charlottetown area, -1 for Fredericton. Moving over toward Quebec City, the clear conditions there, they've got -7 degrees. Same thing for Timmins. Here in Ottawa, we're sitting at -6, +2 for Toronto with some cloud cover, and Windsor also on the plus side. They're at +1, -6 up toward Thunder Bay, -15 with a mix of sun and cloud in the Winnipeg area. Sunny, but -18 with Regina. Again, lots of windy there in the prairies. I can attest to that. Lived there for a while and it was quite cold. -17 for Saskatoon, -15 for Calgary with some cloud cover. Same thing for Edmonton, +6. Looks like they got some rain out toward the Vancouver area. Closer towards here in Ottawa, we're looking at -7 for our overnight low. Again, chance of flurries that we're dealing with in the overnight hours, continuing on into tomorrow. -3 looks going to be the high there. Same thing for the Ottawa Valley. Again, flurries that we're looking at for the next day or so. And toward the Seaway, we've got -7 in the overnight hours and also looking at -3 for the high tomorrow. Here's what's going to happen for the next 7 days ahead. Here's the forecast we've got. We've got some cloud cover, -3, the high tomorrow. Then on Monday, we've got a 30% chance of flurries. Tuesday, things clear out. Again, we're looking at -10. That'll be the high for that before we have some more snow that we could see to round us out for the rest of the week. On Wednesday, -4 could be the high and a 60% chance of some snow on Thursday. But looking at +1 for the high. Well, the Winter Games in Italy are winding down, but merchandise shops are busier than ever with sales soaring past expectations. Now, as fans search for the perfect souvenir, some might go home empty-handed with the most popular mascots most often sold out. CTV's Heather Butts takes us through one of the biggest stores to see what all the buzz is about.
Milan has long been recognized as a global fashion capital, but just steps from the luxurious shops of the Galleria is a powerhouse of a different kind. In the Piazza del Duomo, an Olympic mega store that's been drawing huge crowds for weeks.
Gift for my daughter, souvenir. So that just a memorable moment we're going to have here, so something for her.
This is the largest of 67 Olympic shops set up across northern Italy. You'll find everything from clothing and accessories to plush toys and collectible pins.
Like the little mascots are really cute, so anything that has that on it, like there's a cool shirt right there.
Everyone loves to trade the pins at the event, so it's just kind of fun and cool souvenirs.
The average transaction, more than $150, with merchandise sales surging beyond organizers' expectations.
It's crazy. It's a huge success.
The head of retail for the Milan-Cortina Foundation pointing to sought-after souvenirs, like the Olympic hockey jersey, now one of the best sellers.
Very important products in terms of recognizability of our history, of the Italian style. For example, we developed a Mecca, so the coffee machine.
While there are dozens of items still available, there is something often missing from these stores, a hot ticket item difficult to find. The plush mascots, named after host cities Milano and Cortina, selling out daily.
The Tina mascot. Yeah, and all sold out. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, best chance.
We are looking for Tina and Milo for mascots.
Such a hot commodity, fans have even joked the only way to get one is to win a medal.
Every day we restock some quantities. Obviously you need to be lucky in this moment because you cannot find in each moment.
Moments after the interview, a few were released and scooped up in seconds. The endless search has people now turning to the online store hoping to score. Online orders also have limited quantities and delivery for those slated for July. Heather Butts, CTV News, Milan, Italy.
We have Ukrainian hearts, but we have Canadian dream.
Well, after the break, we head to Mississippi Mills and introduce you to a Ukrainian family who moved here to the Ottawa area and now living out their Canadian dreams. CTV's Peter Sperling has their story next.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
February is Heart Month, and supporters of the University of Ottawa Heart Institute are helping light the capital red. Tonight, Hair Republic proudly supports the University of Ottawa Heart Institute in honor of a former team member whose life-saving care there inspired their very first fundraiser. What began as a tribute to a colleague has grown into a cherished annual tradition of giving back to the institution that cares for the community. A new indoor hydroponic lettuce farm in Mississippi Mills is raising more than just produce. A Ukrainian family leaving their war-torn country are now working towards their Canadian dream. CTV's Peter Sperling has more.
Growing produce and a new life in Canada.
We have Ukrainian hearts, but we have a Canadian dream.
Svitlana Haidachuk and her family uprooted from Ukraine because of war, moving to this country 3 years ago.
We had a huge challenge. We came with 2 kids, 3 bags, no money, no English at all.
Hard work, perseverance, and a clear goal. Now operating 2 businesses, home renovations and a passion for growth.
This is Fusion Greens farm.
They started an indoor hydroponic farm in Mississippi Mills with a plan of growing lettuce year-round.
And this is absolutely 100% fresh product. No pesticides, only water, nutrients, and sun, and that's it.
Growing from seed to fresh produce locally, a sense of pride for the entire family.
I think it's very niche and it needs to be done because in the stores there's not a lot of local products. And I think it's very important for us to have in winter fresh greens in the stores.
The produce is available at area grocery stores like here at the Independent and Carlton Place.
It's all about, supporting the local businesses in our community, and it always comes back to us tenfold. It's always like the freshest, it's the crispiest lettuce around. There's really no comparison to this, local lettuce that they're supplying us with right now.
Fusion Greens Farm has room for expansion with a goal of growing their dream even further. A family thankful for a community that has embraced and supported them.
This is like a result of community support and our passion.
Peter Sperling, CTV News.
A judge has denied bail for an alleged money launderer linked to former Canadian Olympian Ryan Wedding. 37-year-old Roland Solakowski was denied bail in a Toronto courtroom as he fights extradition to the United States. Prosecutors say he helped funnel hundreds of millions in assets across borders for an international drug smuggling ring allegedly run by Wedding. The court found keeping him behind bars was necessary, citing concerns that he could flee if released. Alberta's premier is speaking out about her plan to launch a referendum this fall. One of the most controversial questions revolves around immigration. CTV's Jeremy Thompson has more on what Danielle Smith is saying about her immigration concerns and whether she has the data to back it up.
Temporary individuals should be treated as that, temporary, and tourists.
Premier Danielle Smith says she's responding to Albertans, putting 5 immigration-related questions to referendum in October.
What we're concerned about is the number of low-skill temporary foreign workers, international students, and asylum seekers who may not be here on a permanent basis and able to be long-term permanent taxpayers.
Smith says that puts undue pressure on Alberta's social services, including education and health care. That's costing the government money ahead of a budget that's expected to run a deficit. When asked to quantify the burden in dollars, the Premier could only provide averages.
So bottom line expense, what's your number for health and education?
It's tough to know. I mean, we'd have to do the figuring out. We don't have an individual. No, we don't track residents and how much they use. All I can give you is averages about what things cost.
Premier Smith says the Trudeau government's immigration policy is to blame.
They were managing it properly. Up until we got to COVID. And then post-COVID, it went completely off the rails with a completely insane policy.
Government data shows immigration to Alberta peaked in 2023 and has since returned to average levels. In early 2024, the Premier was calling for more people to come to our province.
The fact that so many people have come to our province, I look at that as a positive, and we want to keep that going. That's why I've said, let's have an aggressive target to double our population.
It seems to be that this is more about politics than it is about policy.
This immigration lawyer believes the federal effort to reduce overall immigration is the correct path, and it will take years to see the results. He adds healthcare costs for refugees and asylum seekers are covered by Ottawa.
But I think this is more about distraction from mismanagement. I don't think you can blame newcomers for the fact that we haven't built a hospital in Edmonton since 1988.
Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Indigenous experts and leaders are weighing in on the latest travel advice from the federal government. It urges First Nations people crossing land borders into the U.S. to carry passports in addition to their status cards. CTV's Joseph Bernacki has more.
It's an unprecedented time, and that means that we all have to make decisions around what we can feel comfortable with.
Negon Sinclair says when it comes to crossing the border, First Nations people now need to be cautious. His message? Bring a valid Canadian passport the next time you need to cross the border. Sinclair worries more American border guards are not familiar with First Nation status cards as a form of ID.
It's one of those cases in which they're just not trained properly. And so what you're left with is a lot of incompetency, a lot of ignorance, and it's probably better just to carry ID that they would understand.
Sinclair's remarks follow the federal government's new travel advice urging First Nations peoples to start carrying a passport upon entry to the U.S. As of Thursday, the government's website has been updated with new guidelines. A statement from the website reads in part, acceptance of all status cards is entirely at the discretion of U.S. officials. Sinclair says First Nations across Canada have been warning of travel to the U.S. since last November.
I think an egregious circumstance requires an egregious solution, and we may have to, for a time period, use Canadian identification instead of our tribal identification.
Sinclair says it's vital for Americans to recognize First Nations rights defined under the Jay Treaty of 1794. The treaty permits First Nations people born in Canada with at least 50% blood quantum to freely cross, work, and live in the U.S. Southern Chiefs Organization Grand Chief Jerry Daniels says more Indigenous governments need to have this conversation with American counterparts.
The Anishinaabe and Dakota, we are nations that really straddle the American-Canadian border. You know, we're Americans in that respect. It's important to put history into context and where we are today.
Daniel says the ways of the past cannot be forgotten moving forward with border relations.
It needs to be recognized that Indigenous nations are, have the right to be on both sides of the border.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The concept and the drawings look wonderful. So, and maybe to replace some of these little bit run-down buildings would be fine.
Well, in case you missed it this week, we revisit the story of a local favorite tavern in Ottawa's Hintonburg neighborhood that could be demolished.
iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store, and Eastern Ontario's Ford EV leader.
Well, it's time now to check in with our iHeartRadio Weekender, Tanea Taylor. Tanea.
Coming up tomorrow, it's time for the Sens to show off their skills. Ottawa Senators Skills, presented by CAA North and East Ontario, is back at the Canadian Tire Centre as your favorite team splits into two squads and competes head-to-head in various skill events like the puck control relay, fastest skater, hardest shot, and lots more. Huge fan favorite every year and so much fun for Sens fans of all ages, plus free parking. You can't go wrong there. Also tomorrow at 3 p.m., why not add some more hockey to your weekend? Your Ottawa 67s are taking on North Bay Battalion at the arena at TD Place. These Sunday earlier puck drops are great for the whole family, plus a great opportunity to cheer on a local Ottawa team before the year wraps up. As usual, lots more happening around the capital this weekend. The full list and all the details are at ctvottawa.ca/weekenders. For the iHeartRadio Weekenders, my name's Tanea Taylor. Have a great one.
iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store, and Eastern Ontario's Ford EV leader.
Well, in case you missed it this week, in Ottawa's Hintonburg neighborhood, a longtime favorite could disappear. The Carlton Tavern is set to be demolished as part of a major redevelopment. CTV's Dave Charbonneau reports.
For more than a quarter century, Len Mackey has called the Carlton Tavern his home away from home.
25 years, maybe, or more.
Like many regulars, he's concerned the historic Carlton Tavern could be gone soon. Taggart Realty has submitted an application for a 38-story development in this entire block.
Hoping they'll leave the bottom part just as a tavern. Hopefully.
The proposal would include 465 units and 322 parking spaces. The Carlton Tavern would be reimagined as part of the new development.
As part of the development, Taggart is proposing to put another building that would have lots of nods to the current Carlton and presumably for some kind of a restaurant use, whether that is the Carlton Tavern relocating back into the building or another business. The Carlton is a storied institution in Ottawa. Generations of people who have worked at Tunney's Pasture, for instance, have popped in here for after work beers.
The Carlton Tavern's history dates back to 1935 as a hotel. However, the building does not have official heritage protection.
It's not a heritage building. It would be difficult to declare it a heritage building. So Taggart is within its rights to propose that demolition.
Demolition is proposed because of its age, structural deterioration, and the need for major site remediation, including cleaning up groundwater contamination. Councillor Leeper states many residents are concerned about the development. Others support it.
The concept and the drawings, it look wonderful. So, and maybe to replace some of these little bit run-down buildings would be fine. I don't think so. Going to revitalize this area, right? Because now Hintonburg is supposed to be the place to come and hang out. But yeah, I think it's a good idea.
I think it might be time for a little bit of a refresh, and it's probably going to be a great bump for the market, because the market isn't quite the same as it was years ago, so maybe that'll bring that back up. It's going to be a hugely tall building though, so it's going to be kind of a standout in the neighborhood.
Councillor Leeper has scheduled an open house February 24th. The owners of the Carlton Tavern declined to comment on the proposal. Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
Officials with Labatt Brewing Company have signed on to a provincial agency that's responsible for coordinating volunteers who are responding to emergencies across the province. CTV's Gary Dewan explains.
In 2012, Labatt became the first brewery in the world to shift production so they could turn out cans of emergency drinking water. Now the brewery has signed on as a member of Ontario Corps, and that commitment goes beyond producing water.
Labatt may offer use of their facilities, trucks, drivers, cardboard boxes, forklifts, pallets, and refrigeration facilities to support emergency response efforts.
Ontario Corps was first announced by the Premier in late 2024. It's overseen by Emergency Preparedness and Response Minister Jill Dunlop. Dunlop visited the Labatt Brewery Friday morning to formalize the arrangement.
But having individuals volunteer is amazing. We want to continue to build that up and help train people. But when you look at private companies and associations who want to sign on and want to help out, they have those assets that are available to our needs.
Labatt officials say the Labatt Brewing Company has been taking part in humanitarian projects from the very earliest stages of its almost 180-year history.
John Kinder Labatt, our founder, started this tradition of giving back to the community in London when there was a famine in the late 1800s, and gave 1,000 pounds of flour. So we've continued that tradition.
Since 2012, Labatt has donated more than 1 million cans of water to disaster relief efforts, including sending 40,000 cans to Penanjicum First Nation, whose residents were impacted by wildfires in northern Ontario last summer. Labatt also produced hand sanitizer for food banks and frontline workers during the pandemic. Ryan says having a more coordinated approach will benefit those impacted by disasters and the volunteers who take part.
For me, when assets are available and they're not utilized, that is the tragedy in this, is that when you want to help, you can't. But this will enable corporations and companies like Labatt to support the government and Ontarians quickly and efficiently.
Labatt is one of the first private sector organizations to become an Ontario Corps partner. Jerry DeWan, CTV News.
Taking the polar plunge for a good cause, how Ottawa police are raising money for Special Olympics. That's coming up after the break. Well, in tonight's big picture, thousands from around the world gathered at the Grand Mosque in Mecca for the first Friday of Ramadan prayers. Worshippers gathered to perform rituals and prayers at the mosque's central courtyard. Ramadan is the holiest month in Islam and is marked by 30-day food and water fast. All right, now to some other stories you need to know right now. CTV's Natalie Van Roy joins us at the desk. Natalie, what have you got for us today?
Well, thanks, Kimberly. It was a chilly afternoon for a good cause at the polar plunge for the Special Olympics.
Right now, we've raised $61,500, and those funds continue to raise. So we're hoping to get up towards $70,000.
Police officers, families, and community members took the plunge into freezing cold water at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino to raise money for the Special Olympics Ontario this afternoon. The initiative supporting athletes from right across the province competing in Special Olympics Canada this summer in Medicine Hat, Alberta.
Who do we have here? This is Nordic.
The Royal Canadian Mounted Police opened the doors to their stables for the 30th anniversary musical ride open house. The free event raises money and donations for the Ottawa Food Bank while also giving families and friends the chance to meet the horses and riders.
kids are able to gather up some volunteer hours for the high school diplomas. And so we're basically opening up our hearts to people in need.
An Orleans hockey team helped to deliver 100 care packages to Ottawa's most vulnerable Saturday morning. Players and coaches from the Orleans East End Storm worked alongside the SOS Street Outreach Society to deliver food and personal care items. The Society's mission is to end street homelessness in the nation's capital.
This is one of 15 kilt skates being held across Canada, and it's held in Canada, in the United States, and in Scotland this year, and it all started here in Ottawa.
Yep, you heard that correctly. It's International Kilt Skate Weekend, and the Great Canadian Kilt Skate was held at the Lansdowne Park outdoor skating rink this afternoon. The Scottish Society of Ottawa hosted skaters dressed in kilts, along with bagpipers and free hot chocolate, and it's the 12th annual Kilt Skate, honoring Scottish tradition. And organizers also gathered donations for the Ottawa Food Bank to help those in need. Kimberly.
Looks like a lot of fun, and I spoke with Dom on the phone there, and I asked him about how many people are actually true Scotsmen skating with their kilts.
He wouldn't reveal that. He said he couldn't give away.
He said it's a secret, but
it's a secret.
What we're thinking is what's happening.
United States, Canada, mi patria, Puerto Rico.
Well, coming up, he's a Grammy winner, a Super Bowl headliner, but what's next for Bad Bunny? We'll have details after the break. Another live look now through our Centennial Glass Skycam. We're now sitting at -7 degrees with a chance of flurries here in Ottawa.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Tanea Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barrhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford dealership, and Ontario's #1 Ford EV dealer.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Well, here's a recap of the top local stories we're following right now.
Happy New Year!
The Lunar New Year parade marched down Somerset Street in Chinatown as hundreds of people ring in the Year of the Horse.
It's important to support Black businesses because first and foremost, we're all we've got.
The Bring It Black Market celebrating Ottawa's Black business owners while shining a spotlight on Black entrepreneurs here in the capital.
We have Ukrainian hearts, but we have a Canadian dream.
And a family from Ukraine who moved here to the Ottawa area have built a thriving Canadian business after leaving the war-torn country. And now I have a final check of your wake-up weather and your 7-day forecast. So here in Ottawa, we do have a chance of flurries in the overnight hours, and that'll continue on right into Sunday. -8 is what we're waking up to here in the capital. And here's how the week is shaping up for us. Again, we have cloudy conditions, those periods of some flurries on your Sunday. Same thing for Monday, but it looks like the high will be -2. Things clear out on Tuesday. Lots of sunshine in the forecast there. -10 will be the high. Overnight, we're heading down to a low of -17. Then on Wednesday and Thursday, more flurries here in the forecast. -4 on Wednesday, +1 though on Thursday. Then on Friday, we have a mix of sun and cloud where things will be -1 is what we're looking at for the forecast. All right, now it's time to check in to see what our news team is working on for tonight. CTV's Natalie Van Roy is anchoring the Late Show. Natalie, what have you got for us?
Thanks, Kimberly. Well, we are highlighting Ramadan tonight as a family-friendly event gets underway at the Blue Legacy Convention Centre in Ottawa. Also ahead, the Canadian Armed Forces took part in a series of annual drills this week aimed at highlighting the military's presence in the Arctic. And this was the setup in Yellowknife where military members held a training exercise for ice rescues. We'll have more on that at 11:30. Get the news anytime, anywhere at ctvnewsottawa.ca and join me tonight for CTV News at 11:30.
Thank you, Natalie. Definitely will do that. All right, well, finally for us tonight, after winning big at the Grammys and playing the Super Bowl halftime show,
Bad Bunny has secured his first ever lead role in a movie.
United States, Canada, mi patria, Puerto Rico.
Well, the singer has appeared in movies before, including titles like Bullet Train and Happy Gilmore 2. Now the star will star in the directorial debut, that is, of fellow Puerto Rican artist and Grammy winner Residente. Now the movie is titled Puerto Rico, the former English name for the island, and it's described as an epic Caribbean Western and historical drama inspired by true events. So no date has been released yet. I don't know, looking forward to see that. Bad Bunny, very entertaining. He's very funny. I saw him on SNL too, so.
When was he on SNL?
He's been on twice. He's very funny as a musical guest and the host.
He's very multi-talented.
Very rounded, for sure. Natalie's back for the late news. Have a good one.